Okay. So the stages to go through before submitting are really, really important in terms of submitting your work. So you have an idea, you choose your journal, you get familiar and be clear about the previous content in that journal. You know, what sort of methodology, what sort of structure do they accept? You know, do they accept seminal work that's 20 years old, for example, or do they want more up-to-date work? Then again, it really, really depends on what your topic is. You know, I know in construction management, and we're a young discipline, but initially in our journal, we would have accepted more quantitative research, had to have numbers, had to quantify things, where now the nature of construction management is that we actually are more qualitative. So a lot of our papers now are qualitative in nature, small scale research, making an impact. You know, it can be generalizable, but it's actually, you know, qualitative. So in terms of you know your subject area, know your discipline, read the journal, you know, and I'll show you the website of a journal in a few moments, and I can take you through some elements that you can look out for. Write a first draft, engage with a mentor or a critical friend. Excuse me. You know, someone to review it, okay? Because, you know, you don't want to send it in, you know, you're anxious to get it into the journal, but you don't want to send it into the journal unless it's actually fit for purpose and you're going to get some quality feedback. Refine further drafts, okay, from the feedback. Excuse me. Check notes for contributors. Proofread again, final check on formatting, and then you submit. Okay. So, and an important one here is the formatting. You know, if the journal requires the papers to be between 15 and 20 pages, don't send in something that's 40 pages. Because, you know, generally there's a problem in relation to that. Not so much now in terms of the electronic approaches, but previously when journals were producing just hard copy, you know, there's only a certain amount of pages in each edition that can be actually put through. So there will be limitations on that. So again, check those out and check the formatting, because often you'll get a rejection straight away if you don't actually have the correct formatting. So again, pay attention to that. You know, you're taken seriously if you're actually following the process the way they want you to. Okay. Most importantly, choose the right journal. Okay. You know, I can't emphasize that enough. It's important for you to send your paper to the right journal. Okay. Know your audience. Okay. It's not a magazine article, a book, or a manuscript. It's you know, it's a specific journal. So you write the article for a specific journal. You know, some people write articles and then they decide where they want to send it. I'm suggesting you don't do that. Be in the minority. Go with the journal. Go with the journal that is specific to you. And if you look at the bottom there, 30% of authors write for specific journals, 70% write the article and panic. There's a research out there that indicates that. So the important thing is that you pick the journal that you want to actually author for. And my advice is, if you're just starting off, don't look to get in the high profile journals. Get a few early wins or early successes where you actually get accepted and you build your actual knowledge and skill in writing, etc. Okay. So know your audience. Just a continuation of this. Okay. Who's the editor or editors? Who's the editorial board? Really key questions. Who's the publisher? Okay. Is it open access? If it's open access, then you may have to pay to have it actually published. Okay, what authors are actually publishing in this journal? What's the readership? What community are reading it? Is it online? Is it printed? What's the impact factor? Is there a peer review? What is the peer review process? What's the submission process? And is it open access? So they're elements that you need to be thinking of in relation to this. You know, so I'm associated with the International Journal of Construction, Education and Research. That's actually the publishing house that sits in is Taylor and Francis, but there are other publishing houses, Springer, Emerald, okay, and they would be the kind of the traditional publishing houses, where more recently we have actual private publishing houses coming on stream, the likes of MVPI and Frontiers. And with those journals in particular, you have to pay to get published. Okay. That's okay if you're part of a research project, you can factor in publication, cost for publication. But if you're just doing your research and you want to have it published, well then Taylor and Francis and Emerald and the likes are actually the way to go. Now, having said that, Taylor and Francis and Emerald and Springer and these journals, they're currently actually moving towards more open access. So in the foreseeable future, there will be different actually approaches to that in terms of publishing. And again, just get yourself familiar with your community in relation to do that. I'm just going to click on the Taylor and Francis here, and hopefully it'll bring us to their website. Okay, so that's the web page for the International Journal of Construction, Education and Research. Okay, that's what the hard copy of the journal looks like. Okay, again, you can do a search of the journal. Okay, you can be, and the interesting thing about this journal, it's linked to the Association of Schools of Construction. So this is a worldwide body that represents the schools of construction around the world. Okay, mostly in America, but actually around the world. Okay, so often is the case. Journals are linked to different bodies. I mentioned construction management and economics. That's linked to the Association of Researchers in Construction Management. So in relation to this, and again, all journals are available in terms of this information. You can browse the current issue, you can browse previous issues, or you can just explore. Okay. One good thing in relation to this is new content alerts. Excuse me. So what I would say to you is, if a researcher and the International Journal of Construction, Education and Research is of interest to you, you can sign up to alerts. They send them out every month, so they let you know what new papers have been actually published. Okay, really depends on the journal in terms of how often you get alerts. Some journals send it out monthly, some send it out actually when new material comes in. But again, that's a really good thing to do. Click on that, just put in your email address, you just set up alerts. And I think I have about 23 alerts with Taylor and Francis alone for different journals. And every month quite often around the same time, I get these. What I do is I just go in and browse the titles, and then if there's a paper that I think is appropriate to me, I'll actually save it to a folder that I have for the papers that I look at. So again, it's a handy way of keeping track of what's current. Okay, so this journal is roughly about 16 years old. It's volume 16. Okay, so if you see something like philosophy, Taylor and Francis Journal, I think it's on 138 volume. So again, that information gives you an indication of how long the journal is in existence. Okay, so for 2020, we've 2 issues. This journal produces 4 issues a year. Okay, so every 3 months it comes out, and again, you can see there, you can go down through the papers. So on the right here, it gives you a number of views of each paper. Okay, gives you a number of the cross-reference citations and the altmetrics. Okay, apologies for that, everyone.
Yes.
So the International Journal of Construction, Education and Research is the journal that I'm associated with. So that's linked to the Association of Schools of Construction, the American Association, and it's worldwide now. So again, that's the official journal linked to the two. So it's important if you are in an association to actually see what the linked journal is. Okay, that's what this is. Shows what the hard copy of the publication looks like. Here's where the content alerts that I mentioned. Okay, so the content alerts actually allows you to sign up and get actually alerts in terms of the journal. Okay, down here is their latest articles. Okay, volume 16, and you can go down through the different volumes or different papers within that volume, usually about 8 papers in a volume in an issue. And over here is the number of views of the paper, and you can see, there's different number of views. And again, that will really very much depend on the interest within the actual community for those papers. So this one is 88 as opposed to 245. So you can see there's different levels. This rectangle or triangle with a tick in it means it's actually free to view. Okay, so again, if an author is prepared to pay, they can actually you can access their work for free. Or and sometimes the journals will actually create a volume of the journal that's free. Okay, so again, coming back to navigating your way through what journal to actually publish in, the aims and scopes of the journal is clear there. So again, does your research fall within the scope of the journal? So the information around the journal is always available. You get clear instructions, so you can click on the instructions on how you publish, and the charges, etc. Right? Okay. Society information is linked to the Association of Schools of Construction. The journal information is about the journal itself and how long it's going. And then the editorial board is often important to actually know about. So the editor-in-chief is Andrew McCoy, a colleague of mine in Virginia Polytechnic. And then there's 3 associate editors, myself, Ben, and Mehmet. Again, we're in different universities. And then we have on occasion, we have visiting editors. So this person, Somit Ghosh, is in University of Oklahoma. And then we have a person who sends out those papers for review. And then there's an editorial board. Okay. So often the case, journals are looking for people to be on the editorial board, but also you don't have to be on the editorial board to review a paper. If you're a content expert in a subject area, you can review for the journal. So again, that's just the different information about the journal. And again, the likes of Taylor and Francis, Emerald, and these journals have lots of information for you on their websites. So again, go in and get familiar. Go in and look at the papers, get access to the papers in relation to that. So I'll just drop that down.